today's globally connected landscape, visa application scams have unfortunately become all too common. As the desire for international opportunity grows, so does the opportunity of scammers who prey on individuals' dreams of a better future. Navigating the visa application process itself can be intricate and overwhelming. That is because the multitude of requirements, procedures, and fees can create ample opportunities for unscrupulous entities to exploit unsuspecting applicants by enticing them into unnecessary and costly services. Today on The Eagle, our focus is on frequent cases of visa fraud. A call for caution. Aisha Muhammad is my name. Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Eagle.
We are going to tackle financial crimes problems in Nigeria with a human face and a heart of lion.
The EFCC witnessed a lot of activities. One of such is the visit of the president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, NIQS, Ken Nzekwe, who led other members of the institute on a courtesy visit to the EFCC at its corporate headquarters in Abuja. He called for collaboration with the Commission to tackle fraud in the construction and infrastructural sector. Ojuchukutame Eche was there and now tells us about this visit and other courtesy visits to the Commission.
During the visit, QS Nzekwe pointed out that Nigeria's significant budgetary resources towards infrastructure are being marred by pervasive spectra of corruption, depriving citizens of basic services that they rightly deserve. He said litany of allegations surrounding contract inflation and embezzlement of funds meant for projects paint a damning portrait of systemic corruption. Nzekwe particularly pointed out the findings of the Construction Sector Transparency Initiative cost, which estimated that about $5 trillion could be lost annually to corruption in the construction sector by 2030. It is based on the strength of the findings that Nzekwe called for a closer collaboration with the EFCC, noting that his institute is available to lend a hand in breaking the monster of corruption. He also expressed support and commitment to the preventive framework put forward by Olukoyede, promising that every nook and corner of the nation would be reached to drive the initiative.
Today, we present to you our commitment to support the Economic Crimes and Financial Commission in its noble mission to combat corruption. Our proposal encompasses a range of initiatives from capacity building and training for commission personnel to the provision of professional assistance in navigating complex procurement challenges. By equipping your team with the necessary tools and knowledge, we aim to fortify the pillars of transparency and accountability upon which our nation's progress depends. We hope to forge a collaboration with your commission that will ensure that every naira spent on infrastructure delivers the expected benefit to Nigerians.
Responding, Olukoyede appreciated the visit, stating that NICS is a huge stakeholder in the anti-corruption fight. He disclosed that about 70% of corrupt practices could be traced to contracts and procurements, as Nigeria has lost about 2.9 trillion naira within 2 to 3 years to the fraud. The EFCC boss also noted that about 50% of money released for capital projects are always diverted and converted into dollars for personal use. He tasked NICS to look inwards and flush out bad eggs in its fold, maintaining that self-cleaning is the best modality of growth and development.
Talk to ourselves first. And that's what I did with my people. When upon my assumption of office, I said, look, we are going to declare our assets. They say you come to equity. Your hands must be what? Must be clean. Because if some of your members compromise standard, and at the end of the day, we are saying we want to fight, unethical, the standard in the industry, then we ourselves, we are culpable, we are guilty of the same thing. And that is what the first request I'm going to make of you. All hands must be on deck. We don't have the time. We don't have the time in Nigeria to get out of this mess. We can't afford to continue like this. If we continue like this in the next 10 years, probably there will be no Nigeria.
I agree.
So all professionals, those of them who have become here, those of them we have been visiting, that is the message we drum up. Okay. Let us work together. Because we have major role to play.
That's true, sir.
How much will EFCC do? How much?
The EFCC boss further assured that the EFCC will revisit the MOU by constituting a committee to look into it on how it can be better implemented to suit the current dispensation. The executive chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has called on the National Film and Video Censors Board, NFVCB, to continually work against glorification of internet fraud and mutilation of currencies in films and movies meant for the public. Olukoyede made the call when the executive director and chief executive officer, CEO of the board, Dr. Shuaibu Hussaini, and his team paid him a courtesy visit at the corporate headquarters of the commission. According to him, films, videos and movies are meant to promote good moral standards and encourage accountable conduct in the society, and the NFVCB should step up its censorship roles in achieving this. He charged the board to team up with the commission in fighting corrupt practices, maintaining that the work of fighting corruption is for everyone. Olukoyede particularly frowned at undue demonization of the EFCC by skit makers through false characterization of the works of the commission.
Because if you do your bit, I do my bit. The issue of fighting corruption is not just the work of EFCC alone. When we see, people like you, agencies like you, we are always, happy, collaborating with you, because, corruption is not just what you do after the deed must have been done. It is what you do to prevent it. That is what makes more, impact. Like I said, we also work with you.
Earlier in his opening remark, Dr. Shuaibu said the board was in the EFCC to seek robust collaboration with the commission. He said the board was working hard against the glamorization of crimes in films and videos and frowned at the activities of skit makers, discrediting the works of the EFCC by creating contents that do not reflect the real operations of the commission. He therefore called for more enlightenment of Nigerians to support the EFCC. Still talking corruption, the President, Alumni Association of the National Institute, AANI, Ambassador Emmanuel Obi Okafor, has lauded the initiatives, drives and novel ideas of the Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, in offering the Commission a new direction, assuring that his association is fully behind him. Okafor gave the assurance when he led members of the association on a courtesy visit to the EFCC Chairman at the Commission's corporate headquarters. In his response, Olukoyede appreciated the senior citizens for the visit and expressed willingness to draw from their wealth of experience in public service, research and studies, particularly in the area of fighting corruption, which he identified as the biggest roadblock to Nigeria's progress and development. He said the greatest challenge that Nigeria is facing is the issue of corruption, because corruption is like fuel that ignites all kinds of vices and evil in society. Speaking further, the EFCC boss disclosed that only effective preventive mechanisms can address the country's entrenched corruption, and that greater progress would be made if Nigerians showed more commitment to the fight against economic and financial crimes. He expressed optimism that Nigeria would overcome the challenge of corruption. I am Ojo Chukutami Eche, reporting for The Eagle.
Yawwa barka ga dai Alhaji Canji lafiya lau alhamdulillah to yawwa to badalla Assalamu alaikum yawwa yau ma gashi na kawo ni kasan kuma kwarai kuwa naira na gugan naira miliyan 500 ne cur na kawo shi domin ka canza mani shi zuwa dala
naira miliyan 500
kwarai kuwa
ko san yanzu akwai doka
wace doka kuma yanzu ake yayin aje naira ana sai a wajen biki ake amfani da naira yanzu dala ne ke magana
honorable kada in ce kana daga cikin irin mutanen nan masu wulakanta naira masu karya darajar naira su wulakanta naira a wurin biki suna liki suna tattakata suna cin mutuncin kuɗin mu kamar ba san darajar kuɗin mu ba
Alhajin Canji kana jin tsoro ne
saurara honorable akwai
doka
kuma kwamitin nan da ke hana wulakantawa da karya darajar naira na hukumar EFCC nan.
To
sai dai fa ba an hana canji bane amma a bi ta hannun cibiyoyin kuɗi da aka amince. To haka kiyaye idan suka damke ka za ka ɗanɗana kudar ka. A kiyaye fifita dala akan naira.
Hakika mu kasance 'yan ƙasa na gari. Mu bi doka mu zauna lafiya.
The executive chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has charged school children to embrace the fight against economic and financial crimes and other acts of corruption in the interest of their future. He made the call in Abuja when students from Grace Bridge Preparatory School, Abuja, visited the corporate headquarters of the commission on a study tour. Amina Kawa tells us more.
The EFCC's boss, who was represented by the head of Creative Communication Unit of the Commission, ACE1, Christian Oluka, described corruption as a cancer that slowly destroys vital organs of the human body. He said, the children as future leaders of Nigeria must join hands and forces with the EFCC to fight this monster that is threatening the development of the country.
The Christian good book, which is the Bible, our Lord Jesus Christ encouraged all mankind to support children, to encourage children. And in fact, he went on to say that we need to be like children. Do you know why? Because he sees the heart of children as unadulterated, uncorrupted. They are very free-minded. And that is why we take it as a pride to always host children and young people at this EFCC.
Also speaking, head of Enlightenment and Orientation Unit of the Commission, ACE2 Aisha Mohammed, called on youths across the country to take the front row in driving the campaign against corruption by spreading the Commission's anti-corruption messages to their colleagues and relatives. She said that the two holy books, the Quran and Bible, detest all forms of corruption but teach humanity to be good and upright, as doing will help people the fight against corruption correctly. Mohammed further charged the school children to show patriotism to the country wherever they find themselves. Earlier in his presentation on cybercrime, Chief Superintendent of the EFCC, CSE Daniel Uwaka, disclosed that the EFCC has a policy of reaching out to young people with anti-corruption messages before they are old enough to be influenced by peer pressure to take the wrong path. CSE Uwaka admonished the children not to absorb everything they see happening in the cyberspace, noting that much of the things that trend on the internet are fake and aimed at influencing children to embrace the wrong path to life. Amina Kawa reporting for The Eagle.
Visa fraud has to do with presenting false documents to apply for a visa, concealing facts that will disqualify one from getting a visa, such as the applicant's criminal history, selling, trafficking, or transferring of otherwise authentic visas, misrepresenting the reasons for seeking a visa, and counterfeiting, forging, or altering of a visa. These are crimes that can send their perpetrator to jail. As stated earlier, our interview segment is focusing on the frequently cases of visa fraud and its attendant implication. Joining us is Miracle Chukwuaguziem Ngogo on the interview segment to take us through. Over to you, Miracle.
Traveling has been a part of man since time began. In modern times, it requires the usage of traveling documents which give access to travelers going to different local or foreign locations for vacation, business, or medical reasons. This trip required proper documentations and sometimes could be difficult, thereby creating opportunities for fraudsters to defraud unsuspecting individuals. In today's interview segment, we have Superintendent of EFCC, Mohammed Kabir Hassan, of the Kano Zonal Command, who will be talking on the topic, frequent cases of visa and ticketing fraud, a call for caution. Welcome, Mr. Hassan. What is visa and how is it issued?
Essentially, visas are endorsement documents given to individuals of another country to give him a permit to enter the country that issued that visa to, probably for visits, for education purposes, medicals, businesses, works, permits, and other things applicable, such as diplomacy and other things. It can come in form of fiscal documents, or in form of electronics, like soft copy in it. And you cannot have visa without having a valid international passport of your own country. It's with that your international passport that you apply. It depends on which country you are applying their visas for. And each country have different requirements for their own visas. Some countries, you may even have visa-free. You don't need to have any document to present. But while other countries, you need to present as much as documents they might require to profile you more, to see your capacity, to see your ability and other things before they can issue you a visa.
What is visa fraud?
Essentially, visa fraud has to do with a forgery, you know. And if you talk of forgery, is when somebody produce something that he has no authority to produce, or alter an original document that was not produced by him to change its content, or reproduce that document for his own use. So, and we all know forgery is an offense under our law. And with that, you can use that forged document to do a lot of things to get money that you ought not to have gotten if you don't have those documents.
And that takes us to our next question. How is this visa fraud perpetrated?
There are a lot of legs to this issue, you know, but I think the majority of where this visa fraud is being perpetrated has to do with there is this what government call personal travel allowance. That's PTE, yes. And business travel allowance, normally given to people who wanted to travel abroad for their business, or people who are traveling abroad for their medicals and other things. Government normally issue them foreign exchange, so just to ease their way of getting forex in a government-approved price. Right. So, and the criteria for you to get that, you need to tender your visa, your valid visa of that country, your tickets, evidence of you going there. And if you present that to the bank will now issue you or will pay you the approved forex.
Is this visa and ticketing fraud a syndicate crime, and who are those involved in the chain?
Documents are involved, banks are involved, air tickets are involved. Definitely, you know, it's a syndicate fraud, because somebody has to procure the visa, the forged visa. Somebody has to source for the passport to be used, and the bank officials who are supposed to do the diligent work to find out those things, are they genuine or not, are also involved.
What are the offenses and penalties according to the law?
Like I said, I talk about forgery.
Yes.
If we talk about forgery, we are talking about the penal code, particularly section 362, which talk extensively on forgery, altering, producing, all those things. They are part of the offenses because they are crimes against the state, and the punishment under them 15 is not more than 15 years or with an option of fine. But there is more to this. You know, our almighty AFF Acts that talked about obtaining money by false pretense. If you use forged documents to obtain an official rate of money in the bank, and at the end of the day, you gain something out of it, automatically you obtain by false pretense. And Section 1 of that act, you have already violated that sections. And if you look at subsection 3 of that section, give a maximum of 20 years or minimum of 7 years, you know, without an option of fine. So even if you forge that document, you do not collect anything, if somebody was taken to court with that, you can be jailed for 15 years. But if you obtain money with forged documents, OBT is involved, you can be charged with obtaining by false pretense, and it can go for 7 years minimum and 20 years maximum.
What are your word of advice to the public, to Nigerians, for those looking out to get visa and ticket to travel?
One thing I think is we should be patriotic to this country. If government brought things that will benefit Nigerians, if you are not entitled or you don't have the requisite documents to do, don't go further to forge documents that can take you into trouble. If you have reason to travel, and the government said if you can present A and B and C to obtain this, if you have them, present them. If you don't have, leave it. It is not by fire, by force, or somehow that you must collect it if you don't have the document, you know, to do it. So I think people should have that in mind, that this nation belongs to all of us, that we have to make it better, and we should be law-abiding to do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kabiru, for coming.
Thank you, Miracle, for the interview. Please, before embarking upon a visa application process, you must conduct extensive research and familiarize yourself with the official government websites of the country you wish to visit. Beware of unsolicited emails or calls. Verify the official website. Check for secure connections like the URL. Use trusted and reputable service providers. Following these steps can significantly reduce the risk of falling prey to visa application scam. Take your time to ensure you do the right things to avoid being scammed.
Rhymes, yeah. Whoa, corruption must to decrease. This is a canker-worm disease. When our people go live in peace, when all this nyama go cease, I can look back when I
see. Now here they work, and I here at the chop. Sometimes this my work, it is very, very tough, and things go just wrong. But that one don't mean say I go put my hand inside bad things now. I know say if I put my mind to do this work well, I know say I go make am. I don't need put my hand inside bad things. I be mechanical, I dey hustle, and I dey legit.
Ni mai sai da kifi ne, ina jajircewa akan nema, ina sana'ata na gaskiya.
IBS stylist, Moazu, mu dey legit.
I'm selling phone accessory, I dey hustle and I dey legit.
I'm a sound engineer, I dey hustle and I dey legit.
I'm a tailor, I dey hustle and I dey legit.
I'm a barber, I dey hustle and I dey legit.
I'm a painter, I dey hustle, I dey legit.
I'm a fashion designer, I dey hustle and I dey legit.
Be proud of your hustle. Be legit. Say no to cybercrime.
This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
It's always a pleasure to have you stay with us on The Eagle. So here's where we end today's episode. Until we come your way again, keep sending in your messages, inquiries and suggestions to info@efcc.gov.ng. You can also call us on 0809 3322644. Don't forget to use the EFCC mobile app, the Eagle Eye, to report any fraud you see happening around you. You download the app, you follow the steps and report fraud on the go. You can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. Also remember to join us every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. on our web-based town hall meeting called EFCC Connect, where we answer your questions and note your observations of the anti-corruption fight in order to serve you better. And also listen to EFCC Radio 97.3 FM, the voices against economic and financial crimes. I am Aisha Muhammad, leaving you with this parting words that says, we cannot control anyone else, but we can make sure that when we see corruption, we shine light on it. We can be truthful and maintain our integrity in our own personal dealings. We can also teach our children to be better, and then maybe we can make a difference. Let's do the right thing always. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please do stay safe, be kind to yourself and to others around you, and do enjoy the rest of the week.